Julie actually was inspired to do that because of Ganja and Hess, the vampire film made in like what 1978 maybe, where like we see him sitting in that tree. 73. Okay, 1973. You know, I think that's episode 1 of Fade to Black, if you haven't heard. Welcome back to the Fade to Black podcast. I'm your host, Imani, and I am joined by my co-host, Sunflower B. Rose. But today we have a guest on the episode. Brianna, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, my name is Brianna Byrdsong. I am a creative living in Los Angeles.
Amazing. Thank you. So glad to have you here with us today. And so today we will be discussing Julie Dash's 1991 film, Daughters of the Dust.
This has turned out to be a very special day for the Fazan family indeed.
I'm trying to give you something to take north with you, along with all your great big dreams. I'm putting my trust in you to keep the family together up north. This is what about love. They here in this soil.
They left these islands and set out for the north, having said farewell, perhaps never to see us again.
All right. So first, how would you describe this film? The easiest way to think about it is you're in a bar and you want to tell a homie about this movie that they've never seen before.
I would describe it as a family, like 4 generations of a family living in the Gullah Geechee area off the coast of Georgia on an island in 1902. Just meandering over the idea of moving to the mainland. Meandering isn't the best word. They're actively doing it. Yeah.
Yes. They're at their last dinner, their last supper type deal before they go over to the mainland. Sunny?
Yeah.
What about the plot? Give us more of the plot of this film.
Yeah, so it kind of starts with Viola, who has already left the mainland, and she is coming back with a photographer because she's coming to bring Christ and the goodness of the land back to her family on Gullah Island, because they are so untouched. Like, they have their own culture, their own religion, their own just way of life that is so different from what else is happening in 1902 America. And so like when she gets there, like she is kind of like well received and everybody's excited to like learn from her. But then up pops Yellow Mary with her female lover, and she is not received well. And so now we just have these 2 newcomers who are engaging with their land and their people in 2 very different ways. And Yellow Mary is being shunned, but she is like trying to find a home here again because she doesn't want to be in the mainland, where she's like talking about the assaults of white men on Black women constantly, and how terrible it is to just like live there. And Viola is trying to convert everybody. And then meanwhile, there's some other lady whose name I will remember momentarily, but
Nana?
Right now, yep. No, not Nana. I was thinking of the other lady who
Hagar?
somebody's
Hagar?
sure. Sure. I was like, she is the mother to somebody and she got an attitude the entire time.
Hagar.
Great. So I'm like, she is also like stirring up some trouble and resisting, and mostly trying to draw a wedge between Nana and the rest of the island, because Nana is trying to uphold the culture and pass it down to folks, but they want to bring in Christianity and tell everybody they're sinners and the way they're living is of heathenism. And so, yeah. At the end, there are like some people who journey back to the mainland, and it's those that wanted to convert to change. And it's a story of you kind of like wrestling between like where folks should be and like what is best for them. And I hope everybody's okay.
A story of the Great Migration. It's a Great Migration story for sure. With all of these different beliefs. Like, what were, I guess, some of your first impressions of this film just right off? I know for me, like, it's stunning. Like, if you don't take anything else from this movie, it is beautiful.
Yeah, it is visually delicious.
Yeah.
First impressions, this is actually second impressions, but
okay.
I did forget enough of my first watch to take it in again. Truly just the beauty of the people, first off, but also I was thinking about the colors a lot, of like the colors that everybody was wearing and like color theory and what that could mean.
Yes.
We could talk about that later if you'd like.
Yes,
please.
But the dialect, I think I like how there was like 3 religious beliefs being shown.
Yeah.
Like there was like a diaspora element to that. Like not everybody was from that area. Like they had different accents.
Yes, I completely forgot about by law.
Yeah. Yes.
Just the easy, it seems easy, their lifestyle. Like they're living in a completely different world than everybody else on mainland America.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also to the colors, I feel like I keep going back and forth in my head between calling this Daughters of the Dust and Daughters of the Dusk, because I'm just like, it's those red and orange, brown tones that kept coming through. And so from the horizon to the actual dust that they are like trying to like grow seeds and life and history from, I don't know, it just felt so cycle of life, like everything was feeding back into each other. And I agree, it just felt so soothing and warm, even though there are struggles in this space, but it just felt like you were being held the whole time. Even like when we get all these really beachy scenes, it's the imagery, it's the colors, it's this pale sand, the blue, but then again more brown people in white, like everything still feels so light and airy. My first impressions are it's gorgeous, and I'm so curious to learn more about this culture. Also to think about like these glass bottles as just like a way to remember, and so making me think of like how personal like spirituality can be. And because they talk about like this is like some of the last folks that came over on slave ships, and so like they're holding on to some Nigerian culture, I'm assuming, because it's Igbo landing. But then they're also talking about how they like create their own culture of like what they want to hold on to. So yeah, just this idea that you do have like power and agency in how you want to remember and how you connect back to your people and wherever you come from. Feels like something I'm taking away.
Yeah, no, I'm like, I feel like, you're right on point. I'm just going to assume, but maybe not. Do you feel like this film is important to Black cinema?
Absolutely.
Would you say that this is, a
Yeah.
required watch, I would say.
Yeah.
Informative.
Very, very. And Julie Dash is packing so much into this movie. Very little, like by saying very little, by showing so much, and you don't even realize you're constantly stepping back to take in like these beautiful things. But I'm like, she is telegraphing so much to you. And it's honestly, truly, truly, truly a miracle that Julie Dash even was able to make this film, because it was a 10 years journey to seeing this actually like come to light. She says that she first got the idea for Daughters of the Dust in 1975 while she was attending the American Film Institute. She had seen photos of Black women at the turn of the century, and this just got her thinking about her own family and like maybe like what was her family doing at this time. And she's a New Yorker. She was born in New York. That's where she grew up. But her family is from South Carolina. And they moved and she knew that they moved there, you know, during the Great Migration. That is how they came to be up there. But she was attending, so 1975, this movie came out in 1990. It came out in theaters in 1992. So that is how long, like, she really held on to that. But she was a fellow at the American Film Institute. She graduated in New York with her bachelor's, wanted to go to UCLA to get her master's, was rejected because one of the people who was supposed to write her a recommendation letter didn't. And she said like she was very surprised because the person who didn't write the letter was like the one Black person she asked, and like the
Yikes.
two like white professors she asked like did it no problem. But she's like, you know, it was a lesson that she said that she would learn many times over, even during Daughters of the Dust.
Dang.
So she's like rejected that she can't go to UCLA, ends up working crew on a film that Larry Clark was making, Passing Through. Larry Clark is also a Black director who is a member of the LA Rebellion, which is like it was a film movement that students, Black students and people of color, like all came together at UCLA in this film department and said, we are tired of studying all of this white film. We want to study something else, and we want to make movies for us and that speak to what our stories. And so they got really into like Latin American film at this time, the French New Wave, Italian neorealism, and they started like just kind of applying some of the stuff that they were seeing in these films into their own. So Larry Clark was he's like one of the like founding members. It's like it wasn't an intentional thing. It was just like a group of students being like, this is what we're doing now. But he is seen as like a founding member of the LA Rebellion. And Julie Dash says that really she came into it at the end of it. Like they had already done their thing and like she kind of was in at the end. But she works crew for Passing Through, and someone ends up recommending to her like, hey girl, like if you want to make a film, you should get a grant from AFI. So she's like, all right, word. She goes up there to just get grant information, and like this Black man in like jeans and a t-shirt walks up to her like, my sister, what can I do for you? And she says that she like wrongly assumed that he was like a janitor or something, but was like, oh, I'm here to get a grant. Like, I want information for a grant for this new film I want to make. And he is like, you know, honestly, I think that you would do better applying for a fellowship because you'll learn more, you'll get more out of it, and it'll be easier to continue through versus you get this one grant for this one project. After that, you're going to be back onto the next thing. So she takes his advice, ends up also learning that Black man was the co-writer on Passing Through, the film that she just got done working crew on. And then later he went on to be like an actor in The Love Boat. But she was like, my bad, sir. Everyone, you know, she's like, I need to check myself. But she finishes AFI and then reapplies to UCLA. And that's where she gets her master's. And while attending UCLA, she gets another grant. I'm like, this woman is always on the hunt for grants, truly, and getting them. She gets a grant from the Guggenheim, and this grant allows her to research and write films about Black women, because that is, she describes that as like her MO. She's like, I want to make films for and about Black women because we don't see enough of it, especially in 1981. It's like we don't see enough of it. The few times we do say it, we're coming off of like Blaxploitation movies. So it's like, that's the only really view that we have, or like mammies, and Black women are so much more. So she funds her graduate thesis, Illusions, with part of this grant money. And Illusions was a film that she wanted to make because she wanted to break away from the tragic mulatto stereotype that we see in films like 1949's Pinky and 1959's Imitation of Life. You can maybe even argue that movie Passing, I think that came out in 2016, is still the same thing.
Great movie.
Beautiful movie. But did you guys get to watch Illusions beforehand?
I watched the other short.
Okay, so Illusions is about this woman, Mignon Dupree. She is a light-skinned Black woman who is not necessarily hiding the fact that she's Black, but people assume that she is white, and she doesn't correct them. But she works in this Hollywood studio. This film is in black and white. And she works at this Hollywood studio in the 1940s during World War II. And she is like real tight with the exec at that studio. So she's very influential. She has a lot of power. While the executive is away, she's overseeing this new musical that they're making, and they realize that the audio track is messed up. So they hire, because the actress is not available because it's during World War II. She's like traveling around singing to the troops, and so they're like, yeah, she can't come back and redo this. So they hire a Black woman to do the vocals. So that's kind of like, we have two illusions right there. So like, it's like we have Mignon, who is passing as a white woman. So that's kind of an illusion. And then we have like this Black actress who is dubbing this voice for this white actress on screen. And so they, re-record everything. And the Black actress, like says to Mignon, like, hey girl, like, I love to see another sister in charge. And that's truly when you learn that like she was passing. Like, that's the reveal. And Mignon is just kind of like, oh yeah, girl, and so she talks about the actress talks about all the trouble like she has had just finding work just because of racism, and leaves. And that's just kind of the end of that. Like, Mignon is a little worried because she's like, don't out me around all these white people. But then she's like talking to her mother, and that's where we're kind of learning that Mignon is not actively hiding her Blackness. They're just assuming. And so, but she's like, I'm here to make a difference. Like, I have so much, she tells her mother, like, I have so much power here. Like, I know that history is what is put up on that screen at the end of the day. And so if I have any power in controlling what we are putting on the screen, like, I'm going to do that. Like, I think I can make a real change here. And that's really why she's staying. And, they have like a military consultant like on the lot because like they're making these films, and he is always flirting with Mignon, and he ends up finding out that she is Black because he reads her letter from her boyfriend, who is fighting, a Black man who is fighting in the war, and that's how he kind of figures out like Mignon isn't white, and he kind of confronts her on it, and the movie ends really with her plea of like, do it. Like, at the end of the day, I'm still going to be me. I'm not going to beg you to not do it. Like, there's nothing wrong with being Black. There's nothing wrong with me being here. And so like, you're not going to threaten me. Do it. And that's the movie. It's like 30 minutes. But that is one of the films that she makes. And so like, already we're seeing Julie Dash explore this idea of, controlling how we depict each other on screen. Like, she's already like planting that seed of like, like I need to be really, really intentional about this. And so she finishes grad school. I also wanted to say one of the things that she also said like inspired this story was the fact that she had an aunt, because people would say, how do you know this is true? How do you know this is realistic? And she's like, I had an aunt who used to go straighten her hair, go eat a salad at the Waldorf downtown, sit there amongst the white people unbothered, and then at the end of the day she'd come home laughing how no one recognized her. So she was like, that's why I don't think that Mignon is gonna actively hide like, you know, that she's a black woman. She's just letting white people do it. And that is something that like Julie is constantly having to like bring that up, because people are trying to check her like, how do you know this is real? And she's like, because this is my life, like this is my family, like I know people.
I am the primary source.
I am the primary source. But yeah, she finishes that. And that's when she starts getting to work on Daughters of the Dust. So she says she travels all around the country doing research in New York, LA, DC. She went to St. Helena Island off of South Carolina, just doing so much research on making this film. And I think that's why she's able to just like endow so much of it with all this information. But she finishes the script in 1987, and she already knows that studios are not going to understand this. They're not going to get it. So she calls up her homie, Charles Burnett, and they film a sample together. And she has to use all of her grant money to do this sample. And she ends up coming with a budget. Initially, when she started it, she was like, I think I can make this movie for $250,000. After filming the sample, she's like, I'm going to need $800,000 because it's not easy to film on the beach outside. So, they make this sample, they start pitching it to the studios. All of the studios are like, girl, this is beautiful. This is gorgeous. But who's going to want to watch this movie about black women when there's no violence, there's no sex? Like, who's going to want to see this? And she's like, Black people, women? Like everyone, I think this is a good story. And they're like, we don't get it. But we think that like this is definitely like an art house film. Like go over to Europe, see what they say. She goes over to Europe and they're like, girl, this movie is very American. If anything, this is a radical American movie. Like this is Europe. We don't know what to do with this. Like, but it's beautiful though. It's beautiful. And so she is just kind of like, fuck, you know? And so she's at this 1988 now. She's like at a conference, and she's just like, just being friendly, just talking to people. And she meets this woman, Lynn Holst, and she's just telling her this project that she's been working on. And Lynn Holst is like, oh my gosh, like that sounds like wonderful. I would love to fund it, because it turns out that Lynn Holst was the director of programming at American Playhouse, which was like this PBS show that was on for like 15 years, where they like filmed like Broadway performances. And so they fund the film. They fund the full $800,000 film. So they begin production in October of 1989. They got their sites picked out, and then Hurricane Hugo comes, and so then they have to pack up everything and go to Atlanta and wait out the hurricane. And so when they eventually made it back, they only had 28 days left to shoot. Damn. Luckily, like a lot of the places that they had scouted weren't affected too much by the hurricane, but just because of the amount of time, it took them a while to get there, because like the hurricane, you know, they couldn't just get on a boat and get out there. So it took a minute to clear all that out. So they had just 28 days to film this movie, which they did. And then she was left with 170,000 feet of film, and out of money. So then she had to spend another year just working, applying to grants, just so she could pay for like post-production of this film. And eventually in January of 1991, she has it. So she finishes it up. She starts shopping it around festivals. It's winning awards. It's selling out at every single festival it is at, but still nobody wants to distribute it. Until September of 1991, a small little distribution company, Kino International, agrees to distribute it for a January 1992 release. So it's like she finished this movie in 1989, and it took until 1992 to even get it released. So it's truly a miracle. And she says it like when it got released, like people are asking her like, girl, like you were the first African-American woman to ever have a film distributed in the United States. And she was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even think about that. That's crazy. Anyway.
Like, that's why it took so damn long.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
Yeah.
My God. God gave her the toughest of filmmaking battles.
Truly the toughest. At one point, like she had to get an abortion. I was like, this book,
my
she has
God.
her How I Did It book. And at one point, like she says, like after the hurricane, then she realizes she's pregnant. And then she's like, well, this is my baby this year. That's what she told herself. Like, this is just going to be the baby that I have this year is Daughters of the Dust. And went to Atlanta to get it done. And I was like, that's crazy. You got your abortion in Atlanta? That's unimaginable. This is the Deep South. But yeah, it was incredible. It was incredible. So I'm glad Julie got to do it. Shout out to her making of book where she details everything. There's a Bell Hooks interview in there.
Oh my God.
Like Tony Cade Bombera writes the introduction. She includes like a copy of her script where she has all of her handwritten notes. So it's like, yeah, like definitely you have to buy it used because it's not in bookstores anymore. But it's easy to find. I definitely recommend it. It's called The Making of an African American Film, an African American woman film.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Shout out to Black women.
Oh my God.
So, but I wanted to ask you guys, at the top of the film, we kind of see this title card that just gives us a little bit of background about Gullah Geechee culture. How familiar, like, were you with it before this film? And did you want to research anything when you saw it? What questions did it lead to?
Yeah, the only real understanding of Gullah Geechee Island I have is from Gullah Gullah Island, and I also don't have much memory from Gullah Gullah Island other than it exists.
Yes.
So I'm like, I know that it's a place that like people had different cultures. So like, yeah, that's about it. That's all I had coming in. And so leaving, and I was so curious about the last boat, the last slave ships that were coming off, and it just made me think of like going to Elmina Castle in Ghana, and they were all, like the tunnels are actually closed off because they were like, yes, even after we banned slavery, people were also still doing it illegally. So it just felt like I was drawing a connection between those two things. But Igbo landing and like the story of people walking on water, like I watched this with my mom, and she was like, yes, I also remember hearing those fairy tales, quote unquote, and I was like, I have never heard that before. What do you mean? So I became really curious to want to go back and find out more about the stories of it. But yeah, I knew nothing, and I still know nothing. But I should learn so much more.
I didn't watch Gullah Gullah Island, but I knew about it, so I have that connection there.
Same.
I don't know. I feel like I know. I knew vaguely that this culture exists.
Yeah.
But, no, I'm from like the Chesapeake Bay area, so it's like
Same.
like there's a similarity there. All the seafood they had there.
Yes, so much seafood.
I felt that.
Felt so Maryland.
Yeah, felt that in my soul. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. No, same. Like I will say, like I vaguely remember Gullah Gullah Island. I knew Gullah Geechee culture existed. I didn't know what that meant. But that is one of the reasons why Julie chose to make this film, like, was because she knew that, you know, this these were her ancestors, and she knew that so many people did not know that this was even a thing, had never even heard of this culture, like the story of Igbo landing, and them being like, no, like we remember they were still bringing slave ships through here even after the United States government banned international slave trade. Like they were still bringing them in here up until the Civil War. And I know like Sneed, the photographer, is like, what are you talking about? Like that's impossible. That's impossible.
And he said, man, I was on that damn boat. Like, it's his eye.
It is I until he meets him, and it's like me, the primary source, and it's like, and it's also showing too, like when people are kind of like left alone, how much of their own culture they actually preserve. There's like a documentary called The Descendants, and it's about the people who were on the last slave ship to come to America right before the Civil War. And the people who were enslaved on that ship were only enslaved in America for maybe, it's like up until to the end of the Civil War, so at max like 4 years. And so after emancipation, like they created their own town called like Africa Town, and to this day they have still retained like so much of their culture and their tradition, because they came from people who remembered, like, first, I am the primary source and I'm going to continue passing this on, like to this day. And for decades, like historians, academics would tell them like, y'all are just confused. Like, I don't know how you maintained your culture, but like, there's no way that y'all had descendants on the ships in the way that you say you do, until I don't remember what year, but it was in the 20-somethings. They found a piece of that ship because they said it was the Clotilde. Like they knew, they was like, the ship name was the Clotilde. It was bought by these people over here. Like they had all the names, and they ended up finding that ship in the Delta. And I think it might be in the museum in DC now. It might not be. But like that just like, again, confirmed their story, something that they already knew without that hardcore proof. And I think that's also what Daughters of the Dust, so much of this movie is saying. It's like our ways of story keeping are just as legitimate as anything else. Like we pass our history on, through oral storytelling, through stories, through tradition. And this is how we remember each other. Which I'm like, art, beautiful. Art, gorgeous, beautiful.
I'm like, because even down to like that quilt that came up in that opening shot too.
Yeah.
And I was just like, ooh, the stories that I know exist on this thing that I just can't read.
Right, on these quilts. The bassinets that had like their names carved on the bottom, and it was like 2 years after freedom. It's like,
or again, back to those glass bottles. Like those are just the names of the people who were literally here. And she's just remembering the blue is Bob, the green is Terrell.
Is Gary.
Yeah, like it's not written down, but it exists right there. So for dude to like literally smash it because he thought that these were holding their actual spirits and souls, and it's like, no, these are just the artifacts. Like this is
how we remember.
Yeah.
I saw something on Twitter like this week that was like an older Black woman was like always humming a lullaby in a different language, and like nobody knew where it came from. And then somebody who spoke the language like recognized it and like connected her with like people in like the specific African village, like where those words came from. Like there were like discrepancies, but like it was like similar enough. Yeah. I wish I had that link right now, but yeah.
I feel like I also talked to somebody who said that they knew a woman that was dreaming of her like indigenous language, but she just thought it was like some spiritual language, and it was like the tribe that she had come from had identified it and said that they had a prophecy of like the language will be lost until it's just like passed down to this specific person. And so they were able to identify and be like, that's it, you are now the prophet, you are bringing back our language.
It has been foretold. That's crazy. That's wild. Yeah. And it's just, yeah, I'm like this story keeping. memory, tradition. So yes, I will say Julie Dash, like who are the women of this film, right? So like if Dash's goal is to show Black women in a different light, how are these women the same and different? Because they're all related. This is a family. For the most part, everyone is a Penzance. Yeah. How are they the same? How are they different? Who are these women?
They all stand 10 tones down in their like convictions.
They do.
Yeah. And their spirituality as well.
Which is so interesting because it's like, how do you all believe such different things, but all have like the same conviction behind it?
The same yearning.
Yeah, but you're all coming from the same source. So I guess it's curious to me of like how this kind of like how humanity wants to explore itself in all possible ways and ranges, because it feels like you got Nana, who's like, I am core, I recognize that I am one of the oldest people here on this island, so I feel responsible for this work.
And she's the matriarch, she's the great grandmother,
right? And so like, of course you want to like pass down the responsibility to your next generation to hold on to that, but also like they're like, but we want to be different and rebel, and they all do it in such different ways. But yeah, somebody has to hold on to the culture.
And she's also the only one decked out in like all indigo. Like
yes, because the land was once a indigo plantation.
Yeah,
right.
So like that is the visual. Julie does that a lot in her work, where she uses visuals to cue things that would be otherwise traumatic to show. It's like in her short, she has her short film For Women, which is like essentially a music video, but it's a choreo poem to the Nina Simone song For Women, which is going through essentially like kind of like a history of like a matriarchal line of like starting with, it starts with you like hear the sounds of like the tribe and people clapping and dancing and it's cut by like the sound of a whip. And this is all done while we see like this woman in a fabric, and she's just like moving in this fabric. But we're like hearing these sounds, and like we hear this crack of the whip that turns into like screams and cries, that turns into like the sound of moving water, that turns into the sound of people moaning and crying out for help. And she is telegraphing us all of this information with just sound without having to visually subject us to trauma. And so she does that in Daughter to the Dust for like in the same way of like Nana wears this indigo gown to like remind us that this was a plantation. All of the elder women have like permanently dyed hands stained in indigo, meant to remind us that like of the forced labor that they had to experience without at all ever showing us Black people in chains, you know? Yeah.
You bringing up the drum in that film reminds me of them using the drum to signal that Yellow Mary had returned. So it wasn't a surprise to Nana when she showed up, and we know how drums were used during slavery. So yeah.
Okay, so another question. I'm curious of like how they knew that she was ruined, and also what does ruined actually mean? Because like
she was raped.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. But initially I was also thinking that like her partner was her daughter, and that was how they knew. So what was the other indication? Or was it just that because they recognized that was the partner, and so they're just like, she different?
Yeah, so it got, this film was made at a time, and so Julie had a lot of pushback. She wanted the queerness of this film to be more outward, but this was one of those fights that she had. So like it is purely intentional. Yellow Mary is coming here with her girlfriend Trula, and so when she pulls up and the family sees her, that's kind of like while they're giving Trula like a side eye, like, oh, she's bringing her, like, you know, she's bringing this woman here. And also Yellow Mary was a sex worker on the mainland as well. Right. So it's just a lot of judgment coming from the family, but she was meant to be her lover, and that's why like there's some more like more gentle scenes between the two of them.
Yeah, I struggled to pick that up. I had to look at Wikipedia. I probably looked at Wikipedia the first time I watched this too, but yeah. It's the same thing with like if I would have seen like Interview with a Vampire, the original film, like I would have been similarly confused. Like, but having seen the show, I'm like, where's the gay sex? Like,
yeah. I'm like the book is more outwardly. It's like they're gay, but they're not gay in the book, but they are.
I was like, just hearing you talk about that book inspired me to go write gay vampire dramas. I was like, yeah, that sounds like gay shit.
Yes.
Okay, because they were also just like talking about like her collar and the way that like she was dressed too, and so she's like,
she's like showing skin through she has like this cross pattern like lattice like on her chest area, so it's like, ooh, she's like showing skin. Yellow Mary, she's so scandalous. I
was like, oh, she's giving church. It's buttoned up. There's holes in it. I see.
Yeah. And then she has her girlfriend who is, you know, she's Yellow Mary, but her girlfriend is dressed in all yellow, which maybe is a dig towards them of like, yeah, it's me, Yellow Mary, with my yellow girlfriend. I think that it's interesting that it's like the people who are holding on to the Christianity, this new religion in the Penzance, are the ones who have either left, right, or Hagar, who wants to go. Hagar, who's not even an actual Penzance, like she married into the family. And so I know we have that one scene where even though Yellow Mary is not like Bible thumping like Viola, we have that scene where like Nana sees that St. Christopher pendant on her neck, and she's like, yeah, girl, why you got this? And she's like, you know, for good luck, Nana. And she's like, they don't protect you. I felt like that was interesting because it's like, yeah, you have put down your own, like you grew up here, but you put down your own beliefs and you picked up this new one when you were on land. But also if she is someone who's been hurt by her people, like she was pushed out and ruined, as they say. But she still has this yearning. It's like Sunny was saying earlier, this yearning that they have for spirituality, even if they are rejecting their own traditions.
Yeah. I mean, because like she said, she's like, does this thing protect you? So if it is about like, what can somebody do to even take care of themselves? Yeah, like what does protection mean? To protect your story, protect yourself, and even dude who's getting mad at Eli and Eula, who was getting mad at Nana because he's like, my life is falling apart right now. I thought God was supposed to make sure everything was good, that the ancestors were supposed to take care of everything. And they're just like, that's who said that there would be no hardship, you know, that something bad can't happen to you. But I think there always is going to be that search for like, how can I escape like the struggles of this world? Who can provide that power? And maybe it really is none of them. That's where I feel like Nana is coming in. It's just like that was never promised. Like we can ask for support and for help, and these things strengthen us. But I don't know if
this production died on the cross for sinners.
It really did. Yes, it really did. It really did. I'm like, where did Julie Dash?
I'm sure she loves sinners.
I bet she does. I bet she does. I wanted to talk about Eli Penzant in Eula. So it's like their storyline is that like, right, Eula has like she was raped on the mainland and now she is pregnant. Like Eli is very conflicted because he's like, what if this baby isn't mine? You know, how I think he's also struggling with like, how could I have not protected her? And that's kind of also why he's freaking out on Nana. Like, not even your gods protected her. And yeah, Nana's biting back with like, girl, like with like, you don't own her. Like, she is not yours. You know,
that baby is yours regardless.
Regardless, you're going to raise this child that is, which is like so speaks to like how Black people have had to exist for so long. It's like generations, you know, of assault, and you just being like, this child is still of me and I'm going to continue on. And so for Nana to be giving him that advice of like, Eli, this is still your kid, you know, this is your wife and you still gonna raise this baby.
I wrote down what Yellow Mary said: raping a colored woman is as common as a fish in the sea. That's yikes indeed.
Yikes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is what, and then it's like
there's so much tied back to the sea and the ocean. Like
yes.
Metaphysically and literally.
And also just thinking about like this our narrator, this unborn child
who is the child of Eli and Eula, who is also narrating us this story.
Yeah, because she sets it up as like, this is the story of my dad almost thinking that he's not my dad. And so I'm just like, so it is his child?
It is his child.
Or is she also just like, well, you still my daddy regardless. But I don't know where I'm going with this, but I just wanted to insert her in there. Because she existed in such an ethereal place for me that I also was just like curious of like, is there a possibility that she doesn't survive? Like, if she is also in a liminal space, I for a moment thought this was going to be a horror. And I was like, Eli's crash out is giving that he's about to murder the whole family and like, if I don't know whose baby this is, then nobody gets to move on. We all just crash out together. So I'm glad we didn't get there. But also I was just curious of like where the acceptance of the child came in and how that brought her forth. And I guess gave me some hope that she would survive, because why is she running around? But then she did run into Homegirl's belly at some point. And that's, I was like, so did she finally conceive at this moment? You know, I was just so curious. I just wanted to insert baby girl.
I have a theory about time and space.
Please.
Well, first of all, time is not linear. And Nana, like, is kind of insinuating that heavily in her words. I wrote down a few different things. Like, it's up to the living to keep in touch with the dead. Man's power don't end with death. We just move on to another place, a place where we go and watch over our living family. The ancestors in the womb, they're one and the same. Those in this grave, like those who are across the sea, they're with us. They're all the same, the ancestors in the womb. And that kind of goes back to like the idea of Ori in African traditional religion. And the idea that all the souls related to you, all your ancestors, like existing in this dimension, that you can communicate with them spiritually. You're forever connected to them, and you are them essentially. So the child talking about how like she could hear her grandmother like beckoning her forth, and the ancestors like ushered her into the world. Like and like seeing the flashbacks of Nana as a younger person and the flashbacks
Yes.
of the people working on the earth, like with the indigo, like it's all happening
all at the same time. Yes.
Yes.
In her making of book, she includes that copy of the script that has her handwritten notes. And so like by like Nana Penzant's name, she wrote Obatala, the creator. By like Yellow Mary, she said Yamaya, mother of the sea, mother of dreams. Trula is Oshun. So I'm like, yeah, Julie was like, exactly that. Like, it's all very intentional. And that was like one of the critiques of this movie. People were like, I don't understand it because you're not speaking as sequentially and you're trying to tell me this story while also telling me this story over here, while also telling me this story over here, and I don't get it and I'm confused. But that is a very common trait of oral storytelling. Like, that's how you tell a story. Like griots, like that's how they do that. And that's what, Nana Penzant
also
is.
That center scene kind of connects that, like, to show that,
yes,
like,
this is all happening at once.
Yes.
We are all, yes,
the spiritual and the
shout
physical.
Out to the Coog.
What goes up must come down.
Yeah. Yes.
Energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can only be transformed. Like, shout out. Beautiful. It was beautiful. I was
Can I just shout out one more beautiful moment?
Yes.
St. Julian, last child, him sitting up in that tree.
St. Julian.
Okay. In that whole zoom out. Yes. I was just like, gorgeous. And was so curious about how she even got that shot.
Yes.
But yeah, just wanted to insert that.
Yes. St. Julian Lovechild. So St. Julian Lovechild is a Cherokee man who also lives on the island with them. And this is Julie nodding to the fact that like the Gullah Geechee weren't the only inhabitants of this island. Like, once again, this land was already inhabited. There were already people here when everyone else got here. And so that's why she includes this character of St. Julian, who writes the meanest love letters, just like cold with it, to Iona, and just about how like they are meant to be together and are meant to grow and live on this island. And so there is this beautiful shot of him sitting in the tree, which, inspired, our girl Beyonce in Lemonade. But Julie actually was inspired to do that because of Ganja and Hess, the vampire film made in 1978, maybe. Where like we see 73. Him sitting in that tree. 73. Okay, 1973. I think that's episode 1 of Fade to Black, if you haven't heard. All right. But yeah, Ganja and Hess is this vampire movie, and like we see him sitting up in that tree. And Julie Dash just thought that shit was so fucking cool that when she was making Daughters of the Dust, she was like, put him up in that tree. Put everybody up in these trees. Like, let's just see them sitting in these trees. And next thing you know, it's like repurposed into like Lemonade, which is gorgeous. What did you guys think about the St. Julian and Iona like love story?
I would have told it too. And I would have told it earlier. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, sorry, mama.
Rooting for homegirl as soon as he came and swept her off her feet. She's throw me on the back of the horse. I don't know where we going, how long we gonna be there, but it's us.
Did she even bring her things? Did she leave it on the boat?
I feel like she dropped it.
Yeah. She dropped everything.
She was like,
St. Julian will take care of me.
I'm spending it with St. Julian. Yes. Right. I love that. Because I was worried. I was like, Hagar, don't take this girl away. Like, Hagar's trying to make everyone's decisions. And it's like, girl, be you. Focus on you. How did we feel about Hagar and her constant, Nana, you old crazy lady?
I just felt like she was so rude. And especially as the person who married into the family, I was like, you being disrespectful to the matriarch. It just and also I was like, and where is your man? Like, why are you even hanging out with these people if you don't want to be around them? Like, that's where I was just so confused. Because even Viola's coming back and she's Bible thumping, but she's doing it with honey. Hagar is just like, you're all wrong, and how dare you try to sway us all from truth.
Yeah.
So I just didn't like the attitude. I didn't understand.
At least Viola folded and kissed the book and the spell mojo bag. What was that?
Yeah, I was like, this spell, protection spell, Nana just cast over the family.
Yeah. But Hagar. Am I paused? Am I frozen?
You're good.
No,
okay.
you're here.
Hagar gives modern day black church person.
Yeah.
I think it was a tweet that was like, the black church is the plantation.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like, why are you so eager to be colonized? Mentally and spiritually.
Yeah.
She is technically an outsider to the family, and like has a different accent and dialect.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think too, because I think she points out, because someone bites back at her like, girl, you're not even a real Panzant. And she's like, I pushed out Panzant, so I got every right to say something than y'all, I carried on the Panzant line.
But that don't sound like the white women pushing out black babies.
Yes.
Like, girl, no, you don't. Please go sit down somewhere. If you don't want to be a part of the protection circle, then go ahead and stay out of it.
Yes.
Right there. And I am curious. I'm curious as to like where this comes from, because I'm like, yeah, like you said, Sonny, like where is her husband? Like, did he die? Does she feel stuck on this island? Like maybe she can't leave and that's why she's so eager. Like, who is she? Because I'm like, she is coming with, you calling Nana a confused old lady. Girl, if you don't go somewhere. Yeah. And then she is the one, and I think it is interesting that Hagar is the one who, like, which was common, who named her daughter like Iona, right? Which was really, really common, because it's like Black people had no control over anything in their lives. So like you're naming your kid like Iona.
What they say, Pete and repeat. I love that one.
Pete and repeat. Yeah. Yeah.
Seasons, days of the week. I adore you. Hard times. Damn, imagine your name Hard Times.
Oh, no.
They said this was, damn.
Yeah, so I'm just like, Hagar is such an interesting character, because I feel like because of all the heat that she has for Nana, I'm just like, girl, who did this to? Who hurt you?
Well, also back to like pushing out Black babies. I wonder if there is some sense of like control that gets to be in there. Like, I as the outsider have a better view of what's going on. And so like maybe I get to control this piece of the culture, like I'm not necessarily a part of it, but I get to have my hand in it. And so maybe there is something to like pushing out these peasants, and which also is wild, because I'm just like, the name is peasant. They call y'all peasants, but you put a Z in there.
She pulled this from her real life. She said that her family knew some peasants, and she thought that was such a down south Gullah Geechee name, and that's how she chose it.
Makes sense. But yeah, just maybe having some sort of control over what is happening.
Bilal Muhammad, the Muslim man who lived on the island. What? Tell me about him. Like, what y'all think?
I feel like we didn't get much about Bilal. Other than he is the primary source. I was like, they said there was a man who came off the ships, and when Jamie Overton went to go talk to him.
Jamie Overton, yeah.
Then he was trying to tell him that he didn't know anything about his own history and his own people, and he was like, "Nah, I was the man. We stepped off the ship and people drowned. They did not walk on water. To which I
Yeah,
was
he
like,
breaks that myth. Like the whole movie, we're kind of hearing about these people who like literally refused to be enslaved and like walked away on water, and then like Bilal is the primary source who is like, no, they just killed themselves. They died.
Yeah.
Bilal Muhammad is based off of a real person. Julie thought his story was so powerful that there was this man who like was a Muslim, like maintained his religion through enslavement, and raised his children to also be Muslim, and like were some of the first like Black Muslim people like over here, like who maintained their spiritual belief. And so she thought like he was just so, even though it's not like time accurate, I think he lived a little bit before and maybe lived somewhere else. She thought it was cool to include him in it.
I have one question.
Yeah.
The statue in the water that's supposed to like represent this story, is that real or is that just a prop? Does that actually exist there?
I believe it was just a prop. Because it's also too like when Eula has that moment where she like kind of tells us like what happened, like they got off this boat and they refused and like they walked on water. We're like also kind of like seeing Eli like free the statue like from the debris, and it kind of floats away, and then like it's like from that point on it's like Eula and Eli's relationship is different, you know what I mean? It's like he's not as like grief stricken about this situation anymore, and like this thing floats away. I did feel like that was supposed to be like a formative thing like in their relationship and in their story. Do you think photography is important to this film?
Yeah, documenting their existence
Yeah.
in a way that is also to what you're saying about how Julie wants to like depict Black people without trauma porn, essentially.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they're out there living like easy, breezy, beautiful cover girl
Lives on
with
this island.
with some with grief and trauma, but
Yeah.
but
their problems are their problems.
And on this day they're putting them aside on this big Last Supper. Well, I mean, they're not really putting them aside, but this big like Last Supper
Hagar's
dinner.
not putting it aside.
They're not. Where Nana Panzant like mixes in some of the hair that she has been holding on that belonged to her mother. She says like before her mother was sold, like cut a piece of her hair and gave it to her, and she's been holding on to it her entire life, and is now doing this spell where she's combining her herbs and this hair and wrapping it tight on Viola's Bible as a way to keep them together even when they leave. Yeah. And Viola, her crash out, her breaking down, begging Nana not to do it, but still taking a hold of it, anyway.
I guess
it kind of
go ahead.
The spell, as well as Bilal being like a student of multiple religions, like it reminds me of like what like I think it might have been Juju B. She does podcasts. She's like she practices Ifa, like she has a podcast. Like when people ask like, should I like put like a Bible on my altar, or like should I still read the Bible or something like that? It's like that still got your ancestors through a lot of shit. Like so like you don't have to discount that entirely, even though there's a lot to critique and pick apart about that, and like white people did a number on us via Christianity
for 240
like that's still that still held our people down, like when they had nothing else. So I thought that was interesting that she bound her spell to the Bible.
To that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think there's so much of that formative so much is transforming in this movie, right? And I think that is also part of it, like in saying that, like, yeah, this is the thing that like held these people down for so long, that this thing that was forced upon them against their will, they were still able to take something out of that and hold on to it as a means of survival and that means of maintaining hope. Mixed, and then like quite literally mixing that in with like our actual ancestral beliefs and placing our power
saints to Orishas.
Exactly. And that like we get our power from our ancestors. Like that's Carrie, this hair that she literally cut from her head before she was snatched away from me. Like, this will protect you, because this is what has kept us together all this long. I'm passing it on. There's something so powerful about that. Well, I mean, I think we've kind of talked it out, Any last thoughts that you guys have about this film? How you feeling?
I was like, Bree, tell us more about that color theory.
Yes. I was going to bring that up. I didn't write anything down, so I'm going off the dome. So essentially, I'm sure you can give context to this. I'm assuming that they had all that white, like access to all the white clothing, because like cotton, obviously, and they're not too far off the mainland to where they could get all those
and get
clothes.
It. Yes,
but we know that like white is seen as like pure and like innocence and like godliness, like cleanliness is close to godliness, all of that shit. So like in a sense there's an innocence about them because they are in this tight-knit Black community. They're all related. They're on this island. So there's an innocence about them. But also like Viola is like coming in with Christianity. So it's like kind of like wearing white clothes is as white as you're gonna get under colonialism.
And then remember there was those that scene with those people in white robes who were like past Bilal, and they're like, come pray with us, brother, come accept Jesus into your life, and he's like, I'm good. But they're also in all white robes.
The men are wearing white shirts and like black like pantsuits. So it's like you could see that as like they are connected, but men see things very black and white, as opposed to women like tend to like see things in a more nuanced way, because like we have to like as a survival tactic. And then Nana, we talked about, she's wearing indigo, like she's very connected to like the ancestors in the past, and like in a way like the sea, the water. Like I was thinking, like, while watching this, it kind of relates to back to Ori, but like, did you watch the new season of White Lotus?
No, I'm not.
Okay. Are you going to? Because
probably
like
not.
Kind of low-key a spoiler.
I haven't watched the whole show at all.
Okay. So there's a character. He went to like visit these monks, and they kind of described like what happens when you die, and it's that like if you think of like existence as like water, like a drop of water going into the water, like that's you coming into the world, and then like a drop coming out, that's like you going back into the water, back into like the consciousness, back into the divine. Like, So like that character like had like a near death experience, and you like saw that visual.
Okay.
And so that's what it kind of gives, like relating it back to the people who were in chains who walked into the water. Like
I see, walking back
like
into that
they
consciousness.
yes, yeah. So and then you see the unborn child, she has like a blue bow on her head, like that kind of connects back to that, like she's still a part of that, she's
The
not here
past.
yet.
Yeah.
I see.
She's yes,
But also it's
the
like,
past and the future.
I'm like, but also as an unborn child, it's like maybe that's a symbol of them like actually still passing down that information to her when she does get here, because she already has it, even though she ain't here, but she got it, you know?
For sure. I know Julie Dash had said like about the costumes, one of the reasons that they're also wearing white is because which was also a criticism, was that this was a very special occasion for them. So they're breaking out their most beloved clothing items, the stuff that they don't wear very often. And that tends to be your white clothing, because white gets dirty so easy. So for this special occasion, they're like breaking out their whites. A criticism that she got about this movie was that people were like, what did they do? Like, they couldn't believe that these like people, that these black people are wearing like these all nice white clothes and like not working and toiling at work in the field. And Julie was just like, I'm not here to show black people hard at work. Like, they're here to make their dinner. And
I was like, we had a cookout. Why are we mad at the cookout?
Yeah. And they were like, no, like, we just don't understand how these people live on this island and like what their day to day looks like. Like, I just don't understand. Like, she got a lot of pushback of just people just not being able to understand that like black people could just exist on this island. You know, and set time aside to have celebratory dinners with family and wear their best clothes when they do it. They
but
were like,
also,
no.
it's not like they didn't not show you them actually working with the indigo at the beginning. Like, they showed you how their hands got blue and everything, and now we move on from that. So it was there.
Yeah. You know, when this film was released, a lot of people said it was basically a foreign film, which is crazy. Like, it was so hard to digest for so many. But you know, and now in today's time, we're like, this is one of the greatest movies ever made by a black person, or just by a person, period. Like, this is a phenomenal movie of American cinema. But it was not received like that. Like, people just really did not get it. She said she would send like informational packets to critics to help them digest the movie, and they would still write critiques like, I just don't understand what she's trying to do. If she wants to make a documentary, she needs to just make a documentary. Like, just crazy stuff, crazy pushback.
And how would that be a documentary?
exactly.
I was like, but also they said the same thing about Chameleon Street, that it was a foreign film, and that's around '89 too. So I'm just like, what's up with the cusp of the '90s here?
Yeah, because she said that like at this time, like studios just wanted, she called it like black violence films. And you know, if you think about like some of the like seminal like black films of that time period, like it is just like Belly and Menace to Society and Juice, and it's like cool. But it's like, if you weren't making, or Boys in the Hood, it's like if you weren't making a film that featured black violence, like studios didn't think that was a black film. And they didn't understand it. They saw it as a foreign film. So,
and you know,
fuck
it's funny
that.
because I feel like that's still part of the conversation today of like, what is the black experience? I feel like we've been trying to expand the scope of black storytelling and who black people are and can be, but there's always still something that's just like, all right, but you about to lose your black card if you never saw Boys in the Hood, if you never saw Friday, if you never saw Juice. Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah. But, you know, shout out to Julie Dash. You know, shout out to this movie. Glad it got made. And I'm glad it's like beloved. Like, shout out to Beyonce for putting people on after the fact, 2016. She's like, hey, check out this movie. Julie Dash said that was wonderful. She loves Beyonce. So shout out to her for doing that. And yeah, even Ryan Coogler, I know when they were asking him about what inspired Sinners, he also named Julie Dash. So
Great.
The people who know and are not keeping it alive. So
Shout out to good representation.
Yes. We need it. Before we go, Brianna, do you have anything you want to share? You want people to follow you on social media? Anything?
Well, my Instagram and TikTok, if I decide to post between now and then, make my first TikTok, is Briwitched, BRIWITCHED. And my Twitter is Sister Act 2 on. 2 on as in Tinashe, I love to get 2 on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Wonderful. All right, Sunny, did you have anything you want to announce in November?
No, in November. My play Discovering Blackness is going to be happening at North Carolina Black Theater Rep and at UNC Greensboro. So I mean, if you in North Carolina, go see it.
Yeah, go see Discovering Blackness, y'all. Tell everyone you know about this podcast. Let us know what you think. Follow us on Instagram at the Fade to Black Podcast. Not Fade to Black Podcast. We are the Fade to Black Podcast. And
the one and only.
The one and only. Don't forget to share, subscribe. Tell a homie, tell an enemy. Tell everybody. Go out on the street and tell the person you walk past on the street to listen to this podcast.
Just whisper it in their ears.
Just whisper it. And we'll be back with listen to it. Just an ASMR ad for our podcast. And we'll be back with another episode. But until then, thanks. Bye.
Thank you.